Heracles is not fighting a monster. He is standing at the edge of the world with the entire sky pressing into his shoulders. Atlas has 3 golden apples in his hands, and for the first time in years, the Titan is walking away from his burden. When we left Heracles, he had dragged Geryon's red cattle all the way back from sunset and delivered them to Eurystheus. That should have finished the labors. 10 impossible orders, 10 returns. But Eurystheus had been keeping accounts like a man looking for a technicality. Apollodorus says Eurystheus refused to count the Hydra because Iolaus had helped burn the necks. He refused to count the Augean stables because Heracles had bargained for payment. So freedom moves away again, not because Heracles failed, but because the king can still change the rules. The new order is stranger than the others. Bring back the golden apples of the Hesperides. Hesiod already knew them as rich golden apples guarded beyond ocean. Later tradition makes them Hera's wedding gift from Gaia, planted in a garden where mortal hands were never supposed to reach. This is not a treasure hunt. Treasure can be searched for. The apples belong to a place that barely fits on a map, beyond ocean, near night, at the far west of the world, or among the Hyperboreans on Atlas, depending on whom you ask. The first problem is not taking them. It is knowing where they are. In the garden, the Hesperides keep watch over Hera's tree, and Ladon coils around it without sleeping. The dragon matters, the nymphs matter, but in the version Apollodorus preserves, Heracles never solves the labor by storming the orchard. He has to find the one being who can reach it for him. Heracles goes first to the river Eridanus, where nymphs tell him to seize Nereus, the old man of the sea. That is a mythological way of saying the same thing twice. The answer is hidden, and the only person who knows it will not volunteer. Nereus tries every form he has. Wave, beast, fire, slippery old god. Heracles holds on through all of it. The 11th labor begins with a wrestling match against information itself. At last Nereus gives him the road. Heracles must pass through Libya, Egypt, Arabia, and the Caucasus before he can reach Atlas. Apollodorus turns the journey into a chain of borderlands, each one testing whether brute force still works when the destination is a secret. In Libya, Antaeus challenges strangers to wrestle. He is the son of Earth, and every time his body touches the ground, strength returns to him. Heracles learns the rule in the only way he ever learns rules, by nearly losing to it. Then Heracles lifts him. Once Antaeus is off the ground, the source is cut. The giant who could not be beaten on earth can be beaten above it. It is a small preview of the sky waiting for Heracles later. In Egypt, Busiris has an uglier rule. Foreigners are seized and offered at his altar. Heracles arrives as the ideal victim, at least from Busiris' point of view, alone, famous, and already trapped inside a ritual. The ritual does not survive contact with Heracles. Apollodorus gives the episode quickly, almost as a grim joke. Busiris tries to make Heracles the offering, and Heracles turns the whole scene inside out. In Arabia, Emathion attacks him too, and Heracles cuts through another obstacle on the way west. These episodes can feel like side quests, but they do one important job. They make the road feel longer than any single battle. Then the road reaches Prometheus. Hesiod remembers the Titan bound beneath the eagle of Zeus, punished for giving fire to mortals. Heracles finds him still chained to the rock, still suffering, and still thinking more clearly than anyone else in the story. Heracles frees him. The eagle is driven away, the chains come loose, and the old rebel finally gets a breath without pain inside it. In return, Prometheus gives him the advice that makes the labor possible. Prometheus tells him not to go to the garden himself. Send Atlas. Let the Titan fetch the apples and hold the sky for him while he does it. Sensible advice until you remember what holding the sky means. Atlas is not holding the earth. That picture comes later. In Greek myth, he holds the heavens apart from the world, standing at the edge where sky and sea press down together. He is not a mountain with a face. He is exhaustion shaped like a Titan. Heracles makes the bargain. Atlas will bring the apples from the Hesperides. Heracles will take the weight for a little while. It sounds almost clean, which should make everyone nervous. Then the burden moves. Atlas straightens for the first time in an age. Heracles bends. The lion's skin, the club, the hydra arrows, all the trophies in the world mean nothing when the heavens settle onto human shoulders. Atlas walks to the garden. Maybe Ladon lets him pass because he belongs to that Western world. Maybe the Hesperides obey him. Apollodorus does not pause over the theft. The impossible part is already happening behind him, where a mortal is holding the sky. Atlas returns with the apples. 3 pieces of Hera's shining property sit easily in his enormous hands. He looks lighter. That is the danger. A person who has carried punishment long enough can recognize and exit the moment it appears. He offers to take the apples to Eurystheus himself. Heracles can stay where he is, holding the heavens. On the surface, it is helpful. Underneath, it is the oldest trick in labor. Make someone else carry the work and call it a favor. Heracles does not rage. He does not threaten Atlas, because threatening a free titan while you are pinned beneath the sky is poor strategy. He agrees. Just take the weight back for a moment, he says, so I can put a cushion on my shoulders. Atlas believes him because the lie flatters what Atlas wants to be true. He wants Heracles to accept the burden. He wants the escape to be simple. So he sets down the apples and takes the sky back. Heracles picks up the apples and leaves. That is the whole trick. No thunderbolt, no duel, no speech about justice. A titan tries to make him permanent furniture at the edge of the world, and Heracles escapes by asking for a shoulder pad. Other versions remembered the scene differently. Some have Heracles face Ladon himself, and ancient art loved the image of the hero beside the dragon and the tree. But Apollodorus' Atlas version is sharper. The monster stays in the garden. The real trap is being useful to someone who never wants the burden back. Diodorus goes even farther away from the fairy tale orchard. In his version, the so-called apples may be golden-colored sheep, and the Hesperides are daughters of Atlas carried off by pirates. Ancient writers were already trying to make the myth behave. The older version is better because it refuses. Heracles brings the apples to Eurystheus. Imagine being the king who ordered this and then having the fruit actually appear in front of you. The edge of the world, Atlas, Prometheus, the sky itself, all reduced to 3 objects on a palace table. But the apples cannot stay there. Apollodorus says Eurystheus gives them back to Heracles, and Heracles gives them to Athena. She returns them to their place, because divine property cannot be laid down just anywhere. The labor is valid, possession is not. The 11th labor is about a different kind of strength. Heracles can lift Antaeus, break Busiris' ritual and free Prometheus, but the most important thing he does is listen to advice, carry a burden briefly, and recognize the exact moment to put it down. Endurance matters. So does knowing when endurance has become a trap. Only one labor remains. Eurystheus has sent Heracles beyond ocean and still failed to break him. So the final command goes below everything: descend into the realm of Hades and bring back Cerberus alive. The last monster is not at the edge of the world, it is under it.